Hello there, RJB here for RJB TV, and today we've got an epic match between Kokanee and Scan. Long-awaited confrontation and conflict between these two players that a lot of players have been wanting to see. And this is played on the Western map. Scan has been playing a little bit of Western SCW League over the past few weeks. Well, actually the last week. Just the last week he's been playing a little bit of fastest map again. He hasn't played for a long time. It's been difficult for him finding matches because time zones just aren't too kind when it comes to Koreans against people from the Western Hemisphere. Like North America, South America, it's just difficult to find people. But he found Kokanee, who was at one point in time the very best foreign Western 1v1 fastest map player. Although now it's up for debate whether it is Hydra or Kokanee. But both Kokanee and Hydra are undisputedly the two very best foreign players to maybe ever play fastest map. Scan here though on the Zerg on the bottom left corner of the map, and Kokanee on the top left of the map. So we've got a left side map, left side game this time around. Both on a corner, so it's going to take a while before they find each other. There's no opportunity for Kokanee to go for his very often used double barrack in his choke rushing strategy, where he tries to bunker rush the Zerg choke. It's very strong and difficult to play against, and it only really works if Kokanee is on a middle spawn location. If he's on a corner spawn location, it just takes his Marines too much time to arrive at that choke. He can try, but the chance of success is much lower, specifically against a player like Scan, who Kokanee has tried it against from a corner spawn before, but because it took so much time to arrive, Scan got his Zerglings out and out-microed Kokanee pretty heavily and survived. But I've seen Scan lose to it whenever Kokanee is on a middle spawn against a middle spawn TVZ, because it's just so much more difficult to combat it. On the first SV there scouting the map, he went for, I believe, he didn't go for 8 barracks, but 8 supply. Because if he went for 8 supply, he wouldn't be able to afford the gas this early. And he also have an academy coming up as well, although the academy isn't on the way, so maybe he did go for an 8 barracks. I didn't pay that much attention. But the absence of an academy makes me believe it was an 8 barracks there from Kokanee. It really helps with defending against Protoss midgate. Also, important note that I forgot to mention at the start, because usually people on my channel don't play random against random. Every single Western match is played random against random, which also changes the build orders quite a tiny bit, because you simply don't know what race your opponent is. Still no academy coming out from Kokanee. He is moving his SVs to the middle there to start a factory. Very close there, very close to Scan's choke. He wants to go for a tank push. He might pull a second SV there to the middle to build a second factory. There's SV number 2. Though it's arriving a little bit late, so he might not go for a second factory. He might go for a second factory. It is one of his most often used strategies to go for 2 factories in the middle, to go for a very fast tank push. And I do believe that is exactly what he's going for. He's got a third SV there going into the middle as well. Not sure why it's going all the way there to the side, but it might start building something, although I'm not sure what it's going to build. So factory number 2 there on the way in the middle. And it's a double tank push. It's very fast. And because Scan knows it's a double factory tank push, he's, instead of keeping his Sunkens all close together, he's pushing them out forward, which is going to force Kokanee to siege up and unsiege more often than if he kept them close together, which is what Scan usually does. Usually Scan gets his Sunkens very close together, which against, I believe, a double factory push is less optimal than a single factory push, because a single factory push simply is much slower. Also, do note he's going for Mulisks, but I believe, and I'm of the opinion, that on this map it is more difficult to go for a Mulisk build order because the Korean map has high ground here instead of just open space. The high ground takes away the vision the Marines have, the Mulisk, whenever they go onto the high ground, which makes it much more effective to micro from the high ground and attack the low ground Marines. But here, because the Marines have vision over the space, there's no high ground, they have an easier time fighting back because their ability to shoot back isn't denied by the lack of vision. So Kokanee there is exactly on time with his siege mode. It should be finishing about 5:14, 5:15. He's going to siege up. He's got extended vision with the engineering bay there as well. He's getting a starport there on the middle too. He's putting everything on the middle instead of building things in his base, which is very common in the foreign scene. They don't like building these things in their base. They like to build it all on the middle and hopefully never ever lose control over the middle, because that is going to cost them a lot of investment and minerals, because they build all their tech and all their factories, all their starports, all the production that they need to fight the Zerg on the middle. Now, Scan has Mulis on the way. He's got 3 hatcheries there in the back. Well, 2 hatch in the back, 1 in the front, 2 more being added on. Mulis are finishing up. He's getting carapace upgrade for his Mulisks, so they stay alive longer, because they already do just enough damage. Now, he fights the tank there on the side with the Mulis, and Kokanee has nothing there to defend the tank. Does have a lot of Marine medic here on the middle. He's balling them up. He's not using them to push in against the Sunkens. He's a little bit slow in response against the Mulis. The Mulis are trying to kill the tank there, but Kokanee takes down 1 of the Mulis. He's gonna try to micro take down the tank, but he starts to notice that because there's no high ground, it is kind of difficult to take down the tanks. Now here I believe Kokanee could just go stim in and attack and take down the Sunkens, and he's going to do exactly... No, he's not. He's playing it safe. He's playing it safe, although now he's going in, but he's attacking the... Kokanee should just go in and attack. Not sure why he's playing this so safe. He should just go in and attack. He knows that because of their Mulisks, there's probably no lurkers. But he wants to play this as safe as he possibly can. That's giving Scan a lot of time to prepare himself for a fight in which he can survive. So Kokanee there, not utilizing the opportunity he got. He's also taken down the Queen's Nest first, which is giving Scan even more time to prepare himself and fight back. Now he's picking off individual Marines running into the Sunken. Sunken gets stimmed down there. Mulis are actually succeeding in the fight back, because there's 3 Sunkens attacking the... Oh my god, Scan survived that one. Not sure how he did it. I really thought those Sunkens would go down, but the Sunkens there stayed alive, the Mulis stayed alive, and Scan comes out on top. Well, he takes down the tanks as well, so he keeps his drones alive, and now Kokanee just lost a very large portion of his army. 1 more tank in the top corner, going to try to roll up and do some siege mode shots onto those drones, but he's got the Zerglings there coming in, moving in to take down the tank, but the tank there is too fast for the Zerglings. The Zerglings are maybe not going to be in time, but the Mulis come back home, takes down the tank just in time before any damage is done to his drones, gets the high finished as well. Engineering bay there doing the last little bit of recon, last little bit of information gathering. Marines and tanks are moving back home because Kokanee knows he's lost the middle, because now the Mulis are moving into the middle. Well, not yet. The Zerglings are moving into the middle. Scan realized that, hey, he's lifting up his structures. He's preparing himself to switch over into a different playstyle. He's still getting the set vessels there in the middle. He might have radiate as well. He's now lifting up his science facility as well because he doesn't want to lose it. But Scan comes in to try and clear out what's here in the middle. So the science facility is going to go down. The vessel's already moving down to the bottom side. There's no side vision there. He's not going to get spotted out by the Muta. So does Scan have Burrow to protect his drones against the radiate, or does he not have it? Vessel comes in. There comes the radiate. He splits up his drones. He's going to lose a couple of them. He loses 7 of them. So no Burrow, but he does somewhat minimize the amount of drones he loses. But he does get a starport and a science facility in exchange for it. Now Kokanee is very rich and he's scrambling to build defenses because he's really scared of Mulisk harassment. He knows Scan has amazing Mulisk micro, and he doesn't want to fall victim to it. So he's just throwing down every single structure without really caring much about its placement, because he really just wants to have them down. He really just wants to have those structures finished. But Scan is playing defensive. Scan is going for macro. So Kokanee there playing very defensive, even though he might not need to. But now he's got his turrets up and running. He's got raids on the way as well. He's got a pretty good amount of Marines and tanks. He's moving out to go for the attack once again. 1 Sunken there in the front from Scan. He built that one just before the creep started to disappear. So smart move there to keep the creep alive there in the front. Kokanee's going to take it down there though, but because he's not stimming in, he's going to lose a couple of Marines. Now the Marines are microing on the side there once again. Takes down a couple of Marines once again. Pretty good control there. Guardians are on the way. Kokanee wants to go in, but he doesn't know the Guardians are on the way because he doesn't have a scan upgrade yet. Guardians finishing just in time, and now he stims in and trying to take down the Guardians before they really do too much damage. More Guardians being morphed there as well. Tanks are rolling up to start sieging and attacking the drones. Scan is taking care of the tanks just in time, and yeah, he clears out the army from Kokanee just in time. Kokanee gets... his army gets obliterated and erased from the map, and now Scan is probably looking for a counterattack there with Pilotus Guardian combination, which is a very strong combination. But as long as Kokanee can build a significant amount of anti-air, keep his tanks there in the front alive and siege them up, he can probably keep those Hydra Guardians away from his base. But it looks like Scan is moving out into the middle, but he's also taking care of getting bigger and stronger there back at home. He's currently only on 4 gas though, so he can't really produce too much gas units, but he also isn't producing gas units all that much. So he's fine in that regard. He's getting everything actually really well timed. I'm liking this. It's very controlled, and he's taking every single opportunity he can to take what he can. He doesn't take too much, he doesn't take too little. So he goes in with the Guardians, but there are so many raids there ready to defend against the Guardians, so the Guardians are not going to be too much of a threat. There's also not much anti-air here. It's got some Hydras there on the middle. They're coming in from behind. The factories are forced to be lifted up and pulled to the back. He's reorganizing them at the same time as well. Some Marines are getting pulled into the Guardians. Hydras are there to defend against the raids. The raids are there in a very large number. Maybe he has... does he have... well, he doesn't need Cloak. He doesn't need Cloak because the Hydras on the low ground are getting taken down by siege tanks. And now the raids are taking down the Guardians, so Kokanee is perfectly fine, but their supply counts are about equal. And that is worrisome for Kokanee. Because when the supply counts are even, when the work counts are even, Zerk is at an advantage because as you can see, his worker count just shot up from 61 to 74. He can produce a lot of drones all at the same time, whereas Kokanee, currently only on 2 command centers, is going to take more time to get his work count up to where he wants it to be, which is around 75, maybe even 80 SCVs in total, although I think 80 is a little bit overshooting the mark. He's getting his upgrades there though in the back. He's got currently no upgrades whatsoever on anything at all, except his Marines are on 0-0 as well, so no upgrades across the board, where Scan has been getting his upgrades. He's got level 1 air carapace, you can see right there. He's got no air attack yet, but he's got it on the way, and he's got ground upgrades on the way as well, with his triple Evo chamber there on the side. He's got 2 Ultimus caverns as well for speed and carapace, and he's got the Fighter Mount for Plague and Consume. His hatchery count is still a tiny little bit low, but what matters is that he's diversifying his technology and preparing himself for a very strong tech switch. He's got a tank drop there trying to get in, but there's Hylas there in between. Some raids are aiming and shooting for some overlords, trying to open up a hole there on the side, and he successfully does open up a hole as the Hydras are moving away, trying to keep away the raids. But now we've got... okay, the tank doesn't unload. He does get 1 Marine out, but the Marine is not important. So the tank drop attempt there fails. It was a good move opening up that side there, but it doesn't really work out as he wanted it to. So he's still making Marines, but they still have no upgrades. He's getting upgrades for the Marines now though. But the fact that he's still using so many Marines while he has the opportunity to go for a lot more mech and air, while his Marines have no upgrade level 1 attack, it's something, but it's not something to write home about. It's not a lot. But he's gonna set himself up here on the side. He's gonna set himself up on the ledge, get about 7 or 5 tanks sieged up there, which is gonna make it difficult for Scan to move out into the middle. But Scan has already proxied 2 hatcheries there while he had the opportunity, so we're probably gonna see a Nidus Expo happening in the near future. Now also adding on more hatcheries so he can amp up his production, because he's going to need to have very high production, and for that you need a lot of hatcheries. That aside though, he's got lurkers on the way now as well. I don't see the fighter anywhere yet. He does have a lot of Hydralisks to defend himself against raids, vessels, but not against tanks. Hydralisks don't do well against tanks. Now, Kokanee is scouting the sides, but I don't think he spotted out the... he did see the creep. But he can't see the creep on the minimap, so he isn't really responding to it. More dropships coming in to try and do something, but the dropships get taken down there by Hydras stationed on the sides. Slowly pushing through the front door, slowly adding on more army, slowly adding on to his base as well. He has 5 starports, though a little bit messy. He has 3 armories, 5 armories. And upgrades on the way as well. He's still on 0-0 on his air. He's got 1-1 on the tanks. Air is going to be on... He's not getting every single upgrade at the same time. A little bit sloppy there. He's getting Goliath range, which he's going to need for sure, because I believe Goliaths are much more useful than Raids. The Raids are going to get phased out at some point, because the Raids are very weak against, for example, the Varus. One vessel there tries to go in, look for a Defiler. Vessel finds the Defiler. The Defiler is going to get taken down. The Defiler might get a Plague Up just in time. No, it won't. But the Guardians are moving into the front. Raids are coming in to support them. But there's an Overlord there to take down. Oh, the Overlord gets sniped. There's one more Overlord there. Raids gonna take it down very fast. They melt like butter in a hot frying pan. And now the Defilers and Lurkers, well, the Lurkers are up in the front, but the Defiler is dead. He's waiting for another Defiler to spawn. Guardians are still getting taken down by the Raids that pulled back and went back in as the Hydras were trying to escape from tank fire, but now Zergans are coming in to take down the tanks. There are vessels happening everywhere. Radiates on the Guardians. Guardians get taken down, not too strong without the ground support or the air support. I really needed a drink after that exchange. There was so much happening there all at the same time. He's now taking out a proxy here as well. He found it. So yeah, the proxy gas base there gets taken down. He's gonna have to fill out the remaining gas here back at home because he's only using 6 gas out of the 10 available. He's gonna have to add on 4 more very soon. A couple Zerkins there, reducing the amount of tanks. But the vessels hanging overhead there in the front are radiating the Lurkers to hopefully take down the Lurkers. Also got the Filers there. I think he's gonna slowly push his Lurkers to the front, buying time with Zerglings. Zerglings there getting taken down and shut down by the tanks over the ledge, but the Zerglings actually pretty fast, so they do get on top of the tanks there in the choke path, in the pathway to take them down. A couple drones there escaping to the top corner, gonna get a hatchery there. Kokanee taking down whatever is left here on the bottom corner of this proxy gas mining base. There's Overlords, well, Zerglings, Overlords all across the map. I thought this might have been 2 drones to go for a proxy base, but it isn't. He's just gonna try to get a proxy Nidus right here in the top corner of the bottom right base. So he goes out with Guardians again. A lot of vessels there, but not super fast with the Radiates. Zerglings are taking down some tanks with splash friendly fire as well. Guardians get taken down in the end though, so the tanks are still left alive and more tanks have arrived to replenish them. He's really struggling for gas. So yeah, he's filling out the remaining 4 gas, though one of them is still unused, but he really needs more gas for Lurkers, for I believe Ultralisks, because he has 2 Ultralisk Caverns, or maybe more Guardians and Devours. Kokanee has a pretty good foothold here in the front. He's now irradiating his vessels, going to try to go for an eraser move there on the drones in the back. There's not much in between. That's a lot of vessels there. Tries to take some of them down with Scorch and Hydra, but doesn't really successfully do so. Does scan his burrow, but he's still gonna lose some of his drones there on the gas. That's gonna be painful because he's been yearning for gas this entire time. But at least the drones, well, okay, because he still killed a lot of them. He had about 80 and now 38 are left alive. But luckily Scan has 7,300 minerals, so he doesn't really care too much. But the vessels all being used to clear out the drones opens up the opportunity for Scan to use his mules to kill the tanks. He's responding very quick. The Valkyries are a little bit slow on the response, but he arrives there just in time to make sure he doesn't lose the remaining tanks. So he scares away the Mulisks, but Scan actually bought himself a nice little bit of time and opened up the opportunity to move out. Though now the drones are alrighty. Now he's got more drones, hotkey, burrows, most of them. The vessels don't really pose much of a threat anymore. Still has enough minerals in the bank. All he has to do is fill out his gas again and get himself rolling with a more diverse army. Although he's getting a lot of Mulisks, I do believe he's gonna go for a Mulisk bomb on the command center. And again, Valkyries are dead and gone. He somehow lost the Valkyries, so again, the Mulisks have the opportunity to just go out into the middle, into the pathway, onto the ledge, and kill the tanks, and open up the map, or at least open up the pathway for Scan to move into the middle. His upgrades are also very good. 2-0 there on the air, 2-2 on the ground. He's in a very good shape. Whereas Kokanee currently on 2-1-1 for his ground. He's really lagging behind with the upgrades. The air also has no upgrades at all, although this is a mass vessel radiate attempt. They're coming in from the top side, going to try to absolutely demolish Scan's economy, but Scan once again very fast with the burrow, so Kokanee just runs away. Oh, he's going to keep one vessel there just in case Scan unburrows a little bit too early, gets a single drone radiated, not something Scan cares too much about. But while that was happening, more tanks are setting up to once again secure the contain on Scan, but Scan has this here on the top corner. Kokanee is scouting the map, looking for proxy bases, because he knows Scan lost them proxy bases. But he's not going to find that one hatchery there on the top corner of the bottom right. So more hatcheries coming out, more Guardians coming out once again, and Scan is buying himself a little bit of time, and Kokanee is not using this opportunity to push in, because half his army is not where it has to be. Also pulling about 24 SCVs off the minerals to send them across the map. Once again going for a vessel radiated attack. Drones burrowing up just in time. Devourer is ready there to destroy the vessels. But the fact that there's no vessels at the moment really opens up the opportunity for Scan to move up with the Guardians and kill everything here on the middle, or well, not on the middle, inside his choke and on the ledge. There's a couple of Valkyries, and there's more Valkyries and vessels on the way back at home. But Scan has an opportunity to clear all this out, because there's now an actual absence of anti-air, except 2 Valkyries and 3 vessels, which aren't really much of a threat. And those vessels are once again going for radiates on the drones. He's keeping up the pressure, he's non-stop trying to get those drones. And it's working out, because Scan's minerals are quite low at the moment. As he's coming in, drones once again gonna have to get burrowed up. Is he in time? He's, yeah, exactly on time. No radiates happening, Guardians moving out, Guardians killing the tanks, and there's no anti-air coming from the base to the middle to stop this from happening. So Kokanee is losing the tanks he's got on the middle. He's had a pretty good contain for a pretty long amount of time, but now it's all gonna get taken down by the Guardians, and the Devourers are there to also fight off and fend off Valkyries if they were there, but they aren't. Zergling's now moving out as well, and Ultalisk also in the mix, with, I believe, maxed out upgrades. Well, almost maxed out upgrades. So 4-2, it's gonna be on 5-3 very soon. The Ultalisks are very strong, move across the map, and he's maxed out on supply. Kokanee isn't maxed out on supply, but he's got about 10 of them factories, and he's got tanks being built as well. So he should be fine. Goliaths are also there. He should be fine. I mean, the Ultalisks aren't too great in number for Kokanee to fight against. The Guardians also aren't too great in number because there's a lot of Devourers, but there's no air for the Devourers to fight against. Alright, there is air for the Devourers to fight against. There is air. Scan is getting a lot of units all over the map. Gas proxy base there for Kokanee happening at the same time as well, because he needs more gas. He simply doesn't have enough of it. And you can notice it with how much gas he has in the tank. It's only about 100 to 500 at a time. He really needs more of it. Also, he might have sacrificed too many of his SCVs, because his minerals are also dropping very rapidly. Now the Devourers coming in with their very good carapace upgrades, although they're still running away because Valkyries are a little bit scary with their 1-2 upgrades, although not as scary as they should or could be, but he doesn't want to lose the Devourers for no reason. And now the mech army from Kokanee is a little bit stronger than the ground force that Scan has, but Scan is in the process of getting up. Drones are on the side, once again getting his gas-based proxy up and running there on the bottom corner. That Kokanee cleared out earlier, but now he is once again getting it back up and running. So a couple of Ultalisks there outside of tank range, taking down these tanks that in the pathway. Valkyries and vessels joining, and he's combining his forces. Once again trying to set up that containment and the control over the pathway to deny Scan entrance to the middle. And it looks like he's going to succeed. Though, as I said before, he's slowly but surely running out of money. He already went from 13,000 down to 5,000. He doesn't have, I think he's got about 20 SCVs on the minerals, maybe even less than 20. So he got the Lurker Swarm up and running just in time. Now he's got Ultalisk moving into the pathway, but there's so many tanks up on the ledge that it's going to be difficult for the Ultalisk to clear all this army out. Although they're not doing a shabby job, He took down this entire portion there in the front. Gonna take down a couple more there in the back. Defensive matrices on the Valkyries, then he's gonna radiate the Valkyries, and he's then gonna go for another eraser move on the drones. Hopefully this time around he's gonna get more than the previous times, though. Now there's the Varus and Hydras on the back. He's gonna burrow up his drones. Oh, he doesn't burrow up the drones. He keeps them alive. Oh, he did burrow them up. He burrowed them up in advance. Only 4 of them were still unburrowed. So he was going to lose 4 of them, but he doesn't care. But he keeps them alive anyway. Because his response, his setup is pretty good. Some Hydras and a lot of debuff from the Varus. Takes down the defensive Matrix Valkyries pretty damn fast. And Kokanee once again takes out the proxy gas base there, but he still hasn't found this there on a corner. He's making another one there. There's a Marine there taking it down. But the Nidus Canal finished up. He might try to Nidus units into this corner there and run across the map and backdoor into the base there. That's just something I'm feeling. Or maybe he's going to try to clear out these tanks that are on the middle from behind. Vessels coming in to irradiate the Guardians. Guardians can't do much to fight back. There's also nothing there to take down the vessels. So the Guardians, they are going to kill some tanks, but not the amount of tanks that you wanted to kill. One lonely Goliath there fighting back, being a hero. Now the Vars are coming in to scare away the vessels, but the vessels have done their job. They have killed the Guardians. Now we've got Ultralisks there taking down this gas proxy base from Kokanee. Oh well, gas proxy bases being traded for gas proxy bases. There's a medic still there on the side. Both players. Wait, he's building another gas proxy base. This is just, they really want their gas proxy bases. I like this. They both know that gas is their limiting factor, although the minerals for Kokanee are still going lower and lower, and these minerals might become a limiting factor for him in the near future if he doesn't increase the amount of SVs on his minerals. Once again, vessels coming in there to the front door to look for, or maybe just to detect the lurkers, and maybe to look for...
Nuclear launch detected.
Ooh, he's going for the back door. He went for the back door from the proxy base. Lurkers are in his front door. He's nuking somewhere, although I don't see a ghost anywhere around here. Is he here in the front? Oh, it's here in the front. It's here in his own base. He tries to kill Ultralisks. He kills one of them, doesn't kill anything else. I thought maybe the nuke was here to kill the lurkers, but nope, it's in his own base to defend against the bolts. As you can see, because he has to produce so many units so quickly, because Scan keeps sending out units all over the map into his base, he's gonna run out of money very soon. That's what I'm feeling. Now Scan is setting up, he's just gonna play defensive again for now. Gonna keep getting the lurker swarm up in case Kokanee wants to push out. A lot of Valkyries and vessels there getting plagued. That's going to be hurting him. Raided on the Divider there. Clears out some remaining Ultralisk and Zerglings coming from the Proxy Nidus. Sees the stuff there on the middle. Going to take that down as well. Sending those barracks out to the front so that anything that can shoot into the air attacks those barracks first, but also to extend vision and maybe to just get a bit more vision on the base itself. Now, alright, he's got more units coming out from the Proxy Nidus base and flanking those units and tanks are on the middle. Clearing out a pretty good amount of them. A couple of them gonna try the back door. He's just A-moving them. He's just attack moving them. So don't put too much thought in the reasoning. He's just attack moving them and using them. Got 2 Niduses. Nice. Slowly advancing. Gets a good swarm there, very close to the tanks. The tanks are almost not in firing range. Just the front one. I don't think the back one is within firing range. There's a lot of air units. A lot of air units. How many vessels does he have? 12 vessels. 10 Valkyries. Valkyries fighting back against the Varus. Doing a pretty good job at that because they have caught up with their upgrades. Now, Mules are coming in to take down the Valkyries, which are debuffed, and that's actually a very good move. He's now radiating the Mules. Mules don't fare too well against radiates, but he's just going to send those radiated Mules away. He's pretty damn accurate with his click, so just those Mules are not going to harm his own Mulisks with radiate. Another Valkyrie comes in there to try and fight back. Now he's trying to... Oh, he found the hatchery for the proxy base there. Takes down the hatchery. The Mules are taking down the tanks because he took down the anti-air. There's a lot of vessels there returning back home. does have energy for radiate, but he doesn't have the time to look for which ones have energy for radiance. There's simply just so many of them. So the tanks are in the middle getting taken down. Kokanee is looking and hunting for a proxy base, but he can't find the Nidus, although he did put out this one. Maybe he assumed this was the Nidus Scan was using, but it was in fact this one. So this one all stays alive there. There's a medic there, finds the hatchery, he might try to kill it. Now there's Mulus coming across the map, hunting down the vessels, because there's nothing to protect the vessels. Now you've got tanks there breaching into the front door, but there's no detection, so they're running and walking into lurkers, and the lurker swarm comes back up once again. Now the Mulus are coming back home to take down the tanks. They're in the choke. Oh, I'm liking this game a lot. The Valkyrie is once again there to take down those Mutas, but the Valkyrie count is low, but more Valkyries coming in, and the Mutas are all stacked up, so they take a lot of damage. They're being split up in a response to mitigate and minimize the damage. Kokanee's minerals are dangerously low. Vessels running into the deaths. Oh yeah, they are all dead and gone, and now there's actually no anti-air at all. I mean, not here, it's back at home. And Scan is moving across the map. He's got a queen in there. Got a queen. It's going in. Are we gonna get the command center? There's a lot of anti-air here, but he's gonna get it. Is he gonna get it? He gets the command center, kills the command center, and Kokanee already being on low minerals. This might just be the game breaker. Already being low in minerals, playing it too close to the edge, might end up costing him here, because command centers are gone. His gas income is going to be garbage because there's such a long distance to travel. But the same for his minerals, there's such a long distance to travel, and he only has 51 SCVs, and he's already only on 90 minerals. He's gonna have to push through the front door right here, right now. But I think Kokanee is starting to realize that his chances have shrunk tremendously. Also fails to kill this there on the side. Got Valkyries here, no vessels, no detection. Lurker Swarm there protects him from danger again. The tanks can't move forward. Overlords do go down against the Valkyries, but the Valkyries, they're not much of a threat because there's Ultralisks on the low ground pushing through the choke and try to take down all these tanks. Although they're pretty much clumping up in this very narrow pathway, it's difficult for them to get on top of the tanks because you can only attack the front ones. Drones are being sacrificed for the greater good as well. And open up some supply space because honestly he's very rich, so he can afford it. He can afford to lose some drones because he's so rich. He wants to open up supply space and have a bigger army. Yeah, Kokanee knows it's over. Kokanee knows he's broke. He's absolutely broke. He tried to play it with a big army and a small income, but playing with a big army and a small income came back to haunt him because Scan was just a faster player, and Scan could keep a lot of different forms of pressure up on Kokanee's attempt to contain and push onto Scan. Every single time Kokanee set up, he was losing vessels. He was also losing his own vessels by his own accord by sending them into Radiate. But in the end, Scan comes out on top because he just managed to outmaneuver Kokanee and utilize this proxy Nidus base there in the corner of the bottom right base very, very well. Kokanee never found this. Maybe he found it at the end, but this went completely undetected for the entire game, and I believe this Nidus really helped Scan win the game. It just kept Kokanee so busy to always be dealing with those Ultralisks and Zerglings coming in from behind, that Scan could very comfortably get everything he wanted to do going back at home. But that's for today. Kokanee against Scan. RGB for RJBTV. Hope you enjoyed the match. And hope you come back for another one in the near future. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.